Hello everyone, Douglas here, and welcome to my Doctor Who review, and today I will be reviewing Boomtown. This story features the return of the Slitheen, well, one of them, and it is a follow-up from Aliens of London and World War III. This story is the fifth story to be written by Russell T Davies, and this story was a last-minute replacement story because the other story fell through. Russell stated that he originally called it Dining with Monsters, and he joked that a much better title for the story should have been called What Should We Do with Margaret? This story is the third story to be directed by Joe Ahern. Our cold open scene begins with a recap from Aliens of London and World War III. 6 months later, we see a man and we hear a familiar voice, and it's Margaret, played by Annette Badland. We see Margaret unzips her forehead and her advisor is killed. Our opening scene begins in Cardiff, and we see Mickey, played by Noah Clarke. We see Mickey is walking to the TARDIS, and who is he greeted by? Captain Jack, played by John Barrowman. And we see the Ninth Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston, and Rose, played by Billie Piper. We find out from the Doctor they are refueling the TARDIS with the power of the Rift. At City Hall, we see Margaret is showing the press her model of a nuclear power plant, and it's in the heart of Cardiff City, and that is a perfect place for an apocalypse, am I right? We find out from a reporter that the Blad Drew Project, which is the name of the project of the nuclear power plant, is cursed, and I get a feeling that Margaret murdered them all. We see Margaret is in the bathroom, and she unzips her forehead while the reporter is talking. We see that Margaret is about to kill the reporter, but she doesn't because she is getting married and pregnant. And we find out that Margaret might have a light side. We see the Doctor and his gang are at a restaurant, and we see the Doctor notices a picture of Margaret on the front cover. And I like the Doctor's line when he says, "And I was having such a nice day." We see the Doctor and the gang make their way to City Hall. I love the Doctor's line when he says, "White, here's the plan." Like he said, nice plan. We see the Doctor makes his way to the entrance of the office, and we hear a cup breaks. I love the Doctor's line when he says this to the secretary. "She's climbing out of the window, isn't she? And the chase is on." I like Rose's line when she says, "Be fair, she's not exactly not gonna outrun us, is she?" And we see Margaret teleports away, and we see the Doctor brings her back. I love Margaret's line when she says, "This is persecution. Why can't you leave me alone? What did I ever do to you?" We are inside City Hall, and the Doctor and his gang see the model of the nuclear power plant. We find out from the Doctor that the power plant is designed to explode the minute it reaches capacity. We find out in the model that Margaret has an extrapolator, so she can leave Earth. We see the Doctor sees the words Blad Drew, and Blad Drew is Welsh for bad wolf. We find out from the Doctor that they are going to take Margaret home, and we find out her home planet has the death penalty, and we find out that the family Slitheen was tried in its absence years ago and found guilty, with no chance of appeal. We see Jack has these bondages, and if she moves 10 feet away, she gets electrocuted. I love the night shots of Cardiff, and it looks beautiful at night. And we see the Doctor and Margaret go to a restaurant. We find out Margaret's real name is Blonde. One of my favorite scenes is when we see Margaret is trying to kill the Doctor, and I laughed at that scene. We find out that Mickey is seeing someone else, and ouch, that's got to hurt. We see Margaret is telling the doctor that she can change. We see Rose and Mickey are talking, and we hear rumbling. We see the wine is shaking, and then a window breaks. We see the TARDIS, and we see a light beam in the sky. And we find out from the doctor that a rift is opening. We see Margaret is holding Rose hostage. We find out from Margaret that she sabotaged it, and she goes to Plan B to find the nearest alien source. We see the TARDIS console opens, and we find out she opened the heart of the TARDIS. We see the Doctor, Rose, and Jack turn everything off, and the TARDIS is back to normal. We find out from the Doctor that Margaret is now an egg. We see the Doctor takes Margaret back home, and that is the end. I will say, for a last-minute replacement story, this is good, and it shows a different side of Margaret. And I have nothing else to say. I will say the script by Russell T Davies is good, and I'm impressed how he did it at the last minute. And the direction by Joe Ahern is good, and I would give Boomtown a 9 out of 10. So, that is my review of Boomtown. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time for my review of Christopher Eccleston's last story, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. And hey, Ninth Doctor fans, get the tissues ready.